Welcome, everybody, to Catfish Weekly, presented by Whiskerware Apparel, along with Chuck Davison and Doc Lang. I'm Lyle Stokes. We've got a pretty good show coming up tonight, boys, with Joey Pounders and Jay Gallup. I think we're going to find out a lot of information. I don't know about you, Chuck, but I'm going to be pounding them guys to get some information from them about catching them flatheads.
Yes, and they got some really good strategies they use, pre-fishing for tournaments, and all kind of interesting stuff that I'm gonna pick their brain about. That I think it will really help me. He's already went over a few things with me at tournaments, but the way that they go out and do their pre-fishing and mark their spots and then go back and commit to it and then end up, usually, being on top of the leaderboard is just outstanding the way they do that.
Well, one of the things, preparation is everything, and them guys pretty much got that down pat. But they're having a little trouble getting their computer set up, but they'll be in here with us here in a little bit, and we'll get going like that. Doc, how's things going in the big state of Ohio?
It's starting to cool down up here.
It's cool down. Do you think some of this information Joey and Jay's got will help you with your fall flathead fishing?
It might. I'd be interested in hearing their prepare. I mainly target flatheads anyway. So.
Yeah, I know. You and Janet and Bink and Dave and Teresa and all you guys out there, you fish for them flatheads all the time, and I love to catch them, but you don't win any tournaments over here catching flatheads. All the years I've been doing them, I think one tournament has been won with a flathead. They had a 50-pound, which won big fish, and it put them over the top for the tournament. But other than that, in our water, you better be catching blues pretty consistently, or you're just not going to generally be in the top one or two places. But I think them flatheads, man, they're the king of cats. That's all there is to it.
I love catching them. They're a lot of fun. Just like hooking onto a dump truck or a locomotive, take off. So.
Well, you can always tell if you've got a flathead or not. If it's stuck on the bottom and it don't want to come up, most of the time that's what it is.
Yeah, and it's not, and it's slow, methodical. They don't go, they don't put a set of afterburners on when they pull the rod down. It just goes nice and easy.
That's correct. They got a plan, just like we got a plan, and a lot of times their plan will work out. They don't want to be up there, and if you get one to the top, there's a good chance that it's heading back down. It may not stay on the top when it sees that boat. There's something about them boats when they see them, they don't care much for them.
Yeah, that's the only time they turn the afterburners on. As soon as they see the boat, buddy, they bury a rod down.
Yeah,
this is a time of year where them rascals, they like to play a little hide and seek with you too, because you'll get one of them you'll have one, especially a big one. You'll have take down the rod and you'll get him all the way to the boat, and you see him, and then he looks at you, and then he opens his mouth, and he never even had the hook in his mouth the whole time. He just sitting there sucking on that head or whatever you're using. And then he just kind of lets it roll off in big fat lips of his, and just turns around and says, "See ya," and you're just standing there in disgust saying, "Man," because I use circle hooks all the time anyway, so I don't swing back and bust them a good one.
Exactly. Yeah, I've done it both ways, and the circle hooks work for me. I don't like them getting in very deep, and that's one thing about flatheads you have to watch, because they're liable to just go up there and grab the bait, set on it, and not really move too much, and you'll just kind of see the rod jiggle around a little bit, and the next thing you know, if you're not careful, they swallowed that bait, and I don't like to deep hook them, any of them, but the circle hooks seem to have helped me with that.
Yeah.
Chuck, you've been working a lot. Have you had a chance to get out and do any fishing the last week or two?
No, I was supposed to have went to the Alabama Catfish Trail, hold 'em, hook 'em, Alabama Classic Saturday. Got called into work Saturday night, had a blowout on the way to my call-in, and when I got back home, I had a donut on my truck, and I wasn't going to drive it to Guntersville.
No, that's a good idea. Them things are temporary at best.
Yeah, but I came very close wanting to very bad. I hated to miss that tournament, but you know, the man upstairs was trying very hard to keep me away from that tournament. I don't know why, but there was a reason, and there was several other things that happened that affected it also. So, you know, if he didn't want me to go, I just threw my hands up and said, "Okay, you know, I'm just being your hand, so I'm where you need me to be."
That's right. That's exactly right. We got a bunch of stuff coming up that we're going to get ready and get done with our fall fishing and stuff. I'm thinking next week we ought to be visiting about preparation for fall fishing and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think that would be a good time because we're into the middle of it right now. And we need to get everybody that's going to do any fall fishing needs to be prepared before it gets cold. And when the weather gets cold and really cold, now I'm talking about cold, Chuck, not your kind of cold, our kind of cold.
Yeah.
When it gets cold up here, it's a different situation than fall fishing. You know,
it's cold.
It is, you know, and on the water, there's always a wind. So if it's 25, 30 degrees and that wind's blowing 5 to 10 mile an hour, it's like zero a lot of times. And you just need to prepare different for wintertime fishing and stuff like that. Hey, we got Joey. Hey, how's it going, guys?
Woo!
Hey, glad to have you guys on here.
His hair right here.
Yeah. All spiked up, ready to go.
That's right.
We are really excited to have you guys on the show with us tonight, and glad that you and Jay can join us. And I think that with the three of us have been sitting around trying to draw up a conclusion of how we're going to attack the fact that you all catch all them flatheads and see what we can peel out of you tonight.
Let's give you what we got. That's for sure.
Well, it's great to have you guys. You know, I've talked about this for a long time about getting you guys on here, and one thing leads to another, and you're having to work, or you know, something's always going on. So we're really happy that you got the chance to join us for tonight and be on the show with us, and we'll kind of go from there and see how things work out. And I tell you, I'm going to turn you over to Doc because I know Chuck has got a list of stuff, and I'll let Doc work his way through, because when Chuck gets started on you now, he's going to pry some of that info out of you. And you know, we've been talking about things before you guys got in the show, and one of the things that impresses us the most is your preparation, and I think it's great the way you guys go about doing things. So, Doc, why don't you see what they got and see if you can get some of that info out of them.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you on.
Thanks for having us.
So, my first question tonight is, how do you guys prepare for a tournament? What do you do? How do you do it? What are you looking for?
Well, usually it works out that we get about 1 day on the water. Either he's got to work or I've got to work, and it just works out. The last 2 years, I think we fished together. It's been about one day on the water that we'll get, and we just basically put the poles in the rod box, and we just ride around and look. We don't have time really to fish because half the day we're just trying to fish, and if we didn't catch anything in the spots that we were fishing, then we're stuck. We don't have any spots to fish, you know, especially in a 2-day tournament. So we just have to go out there and find as many spots as we possibly can, and we'll take a notebook out there, and we'll actually mark the spot, and we'll put a 1 to 5 star rating on it, depending on the depth, the structure, what it's around. Just a number of things kind of come into play there. So that's pretty much our preparation the day before a tournament nowadays.
Now, are you guys mainly fishing lakes or rivers, or what are you fishing?
Usually try to stay on the river as much as we can. That's what we grew up doing. We never have been much of lake fishermen.
Okay. So are you guys anchoring on the structure, or are you spot locking, or whatever they call it?
Every spot you got to take it a different way, depending on how the spot looks, what you're trying to get out of it. We do everything from tight line, spot locking, think everything just depends on what we find when we're free fishing or scouting out the day before.
Yeah, we're not, anchoring is somewhat, for a lot of people is pulling up on a spot, throwing out, a few poles and seeing how they do. We do something a little bit more aggressive, than just the normal anchoring. We'll actually pull up to a spot and we'll just drag our baits into the spot even more. We may pull up past a tree and drag them baits right into a tree, because you don't know if they're lingering in the back of the tree on the side or whatnot. And yeah, you're going to get tangled up a lot, but a lot of times you're going to get rewarded too. So it's more of an aggressive anchoring than your normal anchoring and spot locking. So that's what we've been doing lately, actually. So it's been working out for us pretty good, and try to work with that.
Okay. Now, are you guys dropping multiple waypoints on it? Like I know a lot of times I'll find a big tree and then I'll just keep going back and forth across that thing, and I'm just dropping waypoints where it looks like, like a flathead could be laying down in that thing, because I've seen them in all kinds of different configurations. They're not laying flat. They're kind of at a 45-degree angle, sitting on something. It's really weird, some of the things that you see those fish doing.
And we pull up on it. Every time we go across them, we'll go across it several times, marking from one end to the other, trying to find every farthest out corner of that tree that you can find, so that when you pull back on it, you know a lot more about what you're fishing, what you're throwing back into.
Yeah.
You can draw yourself a picture out there. It makes things a lot easier about putting that bait where it needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah, because I like to hover over top of them, especially. Well, I use a Rodan, and so it's called an anchor lock for me. And I'll push some baits right down in that brush and stuff, and just try to get them aggravated. If they're lockjawed, a lot of times they're not even lockjawed. They'll move right up on a bait, but it gets exciting when you're right over top of them. You see them move on your electronics.
Yeah, it's that we try to do that a good bit, and we try to really make sure the water's probably 35 or 40 foot deep or better when we're hovering over the top of them. But when that wind picks up and stuff like that, if you're dropped down there beside a tree and your boat starts spinning, oh my God.
Yeah,
it's chaos. So we've had 6 rods tied up at the same time, and you just have to break off all 6 of them, and there's no telling what kind of ruckus you cause down there. So we try to pick and choose when we can do that. Of course, it depends on how tall that log gets off the bottom. For us a lot of times.
Yeah. Now, are you mainly picking on wood structure, or are you fishing the the ledges and rock piles, that kind of stuff?
Brush and debris and stuff like that's always nice, but a lot of times you don't have that option where you're fishing. A lot of times you gotta get in the rocks. Try to find as many trees as we possibly can, but
yeah,
sometimes that option is not there.
Yeah, and a lot of I know my experience. A lot of times the root balls that you see up on the bank, you wish were in the water, because those are prime flathead spots to sit. But you never see them on the bottom of the river. No matter, the really good ones are always on the bank.
That's true.
That's right. We pull up to. We'll still fish, even though that root ball's on the bank. We'll still fish some of these spots. We like to get on these rock walls, so it's just straight down. So these trees that's falling off the bank are falling directly in there, and you're tying up to the root ball. But there's still some good wood down there. Now, if that tree just fell in there maybe a year before that, you're still going to have a bunch of little limbs, and you're not going to be able to get a good fish out of there probably. And for that, you won't even get your bait down there really a lot of times because there's so many limbs. But if that tree is going straight down, we might pull right on top of that sucker and tie to the bank and fish right down there in that tree. And we'll kind of throw our poles out, kind of spread them out over the rock wall too, because we've caught many a fish, whether it be blue cat or flathead on the ledges. So that's the approach we'll try to take. If it's deep enough, I'd say 25 to 30 is appealing to us for sure if it's that deep.
Yeah.
with a tree on the edge. You know, even at the root ball. Yeah, we'd love for it to be down there, but you know as well as I do, we don't always get our choice. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Well, great, guys. Been a pleasure talking to you. I'll turn you over to Chuck. I know he's gonna really go at it with you. So thanks again. Appreciate it.
Hey, you guys, can you
Yes,
turn
sir.
Joey, can you turn your volume down just a touch on your computer
Absolutely.
with audio a little bit? Go ahead, Chuck.
I don't know if that was it or not.
That helped.
Did it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Jay's computer, so I don't know what's going on with it.
That don't mean nothing.
We'll make the adjustment, whatever we need to do to fix. We've already had enough trouble. I think we can handle the volume.
I hear you. Okay, Chuck.
Uh-oh, now we don't have any volume on Chuck.
What big tournament y'all got here in the near future?
The next one for us,
Yes.
Chuck, he's breaking up on me.
Yeah. What's your next big tournament you got coming up? You're looking really forward to.
The Winter Blues, if Daniel's still putting it on, we want to make that one for sure. If he's still having it, I think they come back and say he's going to have it. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's going to be New Year's Eve. Fish Life's going to be a huge part of it. They're the one that really talked him into coming back and doing this. Yeah, so it's really going to be a good one this year. They've got some really good, guys coming out from different tourism departments and stuff to check this out, and hopefully it's going to help our state, promote some other big tournaments coming up here pretty soon.
Right. Yeah, we're not very good on Wheeler at all. We went there last year and fished Cabela's event, and we went up towards Gomer's one and deadheaded about 40 or 45 miles up north. And we were finally able to catch some fish that we were targeting in the first place. But as far as getting back on that lake and stuff like that, we're just really no good there for some reason. We're going to put it together one day, but we just was over there. So I'm hoping that maybe we can turn it around and have a good showing for that tournament. But I don't think that where they're putting it at, I think it'll be too long of a drive for us to get back to where it was earlier.
Well, you know that
in the year fishing.
That Elk River's right there, and it's supposed to be a really good river also. Yeah,
it is. And there's some really good spots, and we've fished it a couple of years in a row. It just hasn't panned out for me. I watched Aaron Weekly put one about 65 pounds in the boat in front of me. I didn't really like that too much because I'm over here putting 2 pound cats in the boat. He's over here putting 60 and 70 pound fish in the boat, so I didn't really like that all that much. But I know there's good fish in there, but it just it hasn't panned out. You keep going back because it just looks good, looks great, and I know there's eventually going to be a fish that bites in there for us. And we're just not doing it right then, but we're just going to keep making the adjustments.
Yeah, Aaron was in my spot when he caught that fish. He called and told me. Yes, tell us about this grading system and exactly how you go about. You go and you name your waypoint, like 2.5, 3-star. How do you name your waypoint on your electronics itself?
Every spot that we pull up to, right down to every waypoint that's on that tree in one column, and we get together and decide how much we like at one spot, and we'll give it a star rating on it. We'll write the depth down, and any defining marks that we seen about it, whether there was fish in it, fish around it, we'll maybe even describe the tree so we know which one we're going back to.
So do you name the waypoint on your computer? What do you name it? The actual dot on your GPS screen. Do you name it?
The numbers down.
Yeah, the numbers is all we don't put a name with, just the numbers. I mean, I think we're all the way up to 1,500 on the depth finder now waypoint. So we was fishing Gallatin a few months ago. I think it was marking spots $11.99. You know, and if we pull up and mark, like Doc was asking about, you know, if we mark 5 spots, marking the top and bottom of a tree, we'll mark, you know, from 1198 to 1203 or something like that. And that way we kind of know that we're in that area. And it's not like 1199 or 1200 was any better than 1198 or 1203. We just kind of know that, hey, you know, we either go hover over it and hit it from one end to the other, or, you know, we're going to anchor up above it and we're going to spread them out, you know, right all in that area right there.
When it comes to the flatheads, what do you concentrate on the most, rock or wood?
I would say wood, just because rocks we don't get rocks everywhere, but you know, we can usually find wood just about anywhere. Gallatin, you can find a lot of rocks. Tennessee River, you can find a lot of rocks. Coosa River, you can find a good bit of rocks. So I mean, there's a few places that we can't find rocks, but wood is usually the thing that we're looking for. Regardless, we catch a lot of blue cats in there as well as flatheads, but it's just wood for us.
You really can't go wrong with either one. Flathead's gonna get up next to something under it, lay up next to it. Anything that gives them something to get up next to, you can't go wrong with it, really.
Yeah, I've seen some of the videos where the scuba divers went down and they, you know, a big old 40-pound flathead would be laying up against a rock the size of a softball, and he's just right up against it. He thinks he's hid, and he don't know no different, you know.
Yeah.
You don't. I mean, you know he's doing it for a reason, because you didn't even see the rock until he swam off, and there's nothing else around but that one rock, and he was tucked right up against it. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool about, you know, the way they pick out structure like that.
Yeah, we'll see, and that's a big thing, you know, as close as they get to structure. We may see a tree down there that's 70 foot long, you know, it's 3 foot around or whatever. And we may not see a thing in that tree. And a lot of people will say, oh, there's nothing in that tree. You know, drive on down the river. You know, we're going to find a tree that's got some fish on it. For us, we don't care if we see fish in it. I mean, we never have. We rate the tree, we rate the depth, and we rate the, you know, surroundings of it. You know, we don't rate the fish in there, because if you've ever went, even if you go in the Pyramid Bass Pro Shop, you go upstairs and you look, and them flatheads are in the log. I mean, they're in the log. They're not above it. They're not below it. They're in it. They're trying to get as much cover as they possibly can. So they will lay right on top of a log, and you cannot separate it with your depth finder and say, oh, that's a fish sitting on top of a log, because they just blend in with it. So we don't get really too tied up on saying, oh, that you know, that tree ain't got no fish on it or anything like that. So we just that's another reason we like fishing wood so much, because about half the time there's going to be a flathead on that tree. It's just, can you get the right bait to him? Can you elevate it right where he's at? If he's on top of the tree and you're fishing a bait below the tree, then you're doing no good. You know, so it's all about elevating that bait right where he's at.
Exactly. Yeah, when we fished that Cabela's tournament at Guntersville, and you came back and you showed me this image of this, it looked like a big 60-foot oak tree in full bloom, probably full of acorns. And you told me, you said, man, what do you think about this? Isn't this a 5-star perfect structure where you could be all in it? And yet you said y'all didn't get a bite in that tree. I bet you can't wait to get back to that tree and try it again.
Well, I tell you that, you know, that kind of hurt me a little bit, because I'm sure we'll get to this, but we like to go catch fresh bait in the mornings, and we had marked that spot, and it was a 5. Okay, that was a 5 of 5, because it was in such a nice hole, and we got our heart broke, because we come bebopping up there and knew we was going to stick some good fish, and lo and behold, Shipman and Brooker sitting right on top of it, and just. And you know the bad thing about this, you know they're good and they're going to fish it out. It's like, if there's a fish in there, they're going to catch it, you know. And it's just like, oh God, you know, we've got the perfect live bait right here, and we struck out. So that morning the fog was real thick, so we couldn't see them right until we got right there on them. And it was just, I don't know, it's one of those deals where we went back to it after they left it. They caught some good fish out of it, I believe, and we went back to it and tried to get something out of it and didn't get any bites. And the fish wasn't on it like they were the day that we marked the picture. So, but, regardless, that doesn't, like I said, that doesn't really affect us. We still think that if there's a house there, that's what we call a tree, is the house. We're going to put it on our kitchen table and see if they want to eat.
Right. I mean, I've never seen a tree look that good on an image. It just looked like it was just growing out the bottom of the lake, and it was it was perfect.
Right.
I cannot believe, I don't know if Shipman and them hardly anybody caught anything that day. I think one big fish over 50 and then, some 20s and 30s, but it was a really bad front, bad wind and stuff. So the fish were really shut down bad that day anyway.
That's right. We caught our one fish, I think, at 256. We was all proud of it. It was about a 20-pound blue.
Couldn't make it more exciting.
Yeah.
So it was tough on us for sure.
Yeah, it was fun, but any day like that is a good learning experience. Now I probably won't ever get them, but I guess I just need to go during the fronts more and try to learn them. Everybody else, they go, well, it's a cold front coming. I'm not going to go fish. I usually try to get out there and see if I can catch them, because lately every time a tournament comes up, there's a front come in that day. It never
Never.
It happens to you too, huh?
Yep. I'm talking about this is the past 2 years. Every tournament I think I've been to, a pretty deep front comes through right on time.
Right. I feel your pain. I promise you.
Yep, and some of them, on the 2-day tournaments, you'll have one good day of fishing, and then the front comes through. Then the second day is it just shuts them down. So
yeah, we've been through that before, and that's just a grind. We're fishing. A lot of people will go and they'll anchor, 10 spots a day. We may anchor 20 or 25 spots because we're not getting that bite. We're giving them 15 or 20 minutes, and it's even worse when the fronts come through, because you're trying to do whatever you can just get 5 fish in the boat. You're not trying to put a stringer in the boat. You're just trying to get 5 bites to get in the boat, and it's rough. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. Can you kind of tell us how your day goes on your pre-fishing day? Y'all won't go out. You told me y'all like going out trying to find the best 15 or 20 spots and narrow them down to 15 and try to hang out at each one of them 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the weather and the pressure and everything. Tell me on your pre-fishing days, how do y'all go about narrowing down what stretch of the river y'all going to go look through, and the routine you go through on pre-fishing day to get your everything laid out for tourney day?
That's usually discussed from by the time we come off the water pre-fishing to the time we get back to the river the next morning. We never really know how to go about it, really. You just talk about it best you can, come up with the best game plan that you can, and you pull up, you got to execute it, stick with it.
Right. So you got.
If we of course, before we go out of town or whatnot, we'll kind of look at some satellite images, and we're just kind of studying the river a little bit and seeing, kind of what we like. We like to stay out of the lake. Like I said, we're not very confident in the lake. We will fish if we have to. But the satellite images that you can get nowadays have been really, really helpful, just kind of looking at the bends, and we may be able to search a 20 to 30 mile stretch of water a day. So it better be the right 20 or 30 mile stretch of water, I guess, for us, because if we really strike out, then, we're just stuck with it. So another thing, with us going through and marking all these spots is we're trying to find places not only to catch bait, but where these places are in conjunction with where we're going to fish at too. We don't want a bait spot to be 20 miles away from our best 3 or 4 spots. So we're going to try to find places to catch some bait around the spots as well, because we may catch bait 3 times a tournament, and take 30 minutes out each time. Okay. So there's a lot more prep than just going through and marking some of these spots. And like Jay said, we're talking the whole entire time about strategy. We can get bait here, we can fish here, we can do this, we can do that. This is a 3, this is a 4. We're steadily just going back and looking at our list and seeing where these spots are at, as opposed to these bait spots, and where can we get our bang for our buck. We certainly don't want to drive 10 miles down the river just to fish one spot, come back and fish this spot, and then have to go 10 miles back and catch bait. So that's a big deal about marking 15, 20, 30 spots.
How much do y'all rely, being flathead fishermen, on reading the contours on your Navionics or your Lake Master or whatever y'all use? Does that come into play a lot when you're reading and finding out, where the holes are or where humps are and stuff like that, like the guys that fish for blues? Does that really help y'all a lot?
Just before we get there, helps us narrow. We'll look at it a lot before we get somewhere. It helps us narrow down a lot of stretches of the river. You pick out a certain stretch on the contour line that doesn't really look all that deep, all that promising, and you can pass that up and keep from driving 3 miles an hour through it and killing a lot of time. You can move on to something that looks a little bit more promising. Kind of helps better yards out defining the holes that you're looking for.
Yeah. Another thing, some of these rivers has an old river run in it, and if you see these contour lines go really deep towards the bank, you realize that may be the old river run, and where somebody can't bump and drag and everything else to that, you go back to, hey, this maybe these tall cliffs, these rock walls and stuff like that, and may have these trees that's over in it, and then we'll really focus on stuff like that. We don't really like to get in the middle of the river a lot, if that makes any sense, in these deep holes like a lot of other people would. Because if we're trying to hover over the top of a tree, that wind gets so bad on us a lot of times that we can't stay on that tree without just getting tangled up. So that's why we like to try to find light spots on the bank.
Okay, so if y'all see a nice big 15-foot hump, 10 yards from the bank, and it's 30 foot deep and it comes up to 20, do y'all ever fish around humps like that to target flatheads?
No, that's not our bread and butter. I've heard a lot of people have been very successful doing it, but it's kind of like bumping. We don't feel really good about it, and we just don't do it. I'm not saying it don't work, but we just don't do it because we don't feel as comfortable as what we're doing. I guess we feel really confident in what we're doing. The humps, I know that a lot of people caught some good fish on, but I don't even know if we know how to fish it. Do you fish directly on the bottom? Do you elevate your baits? Do you drag them? I mean, what do you do? I mean, for us, it'd be a learning process, and we certainly don't want to apply that in a tournament as opposed to fun fishing.
I got you. All right. Well, that's about all I got. I'm going to pass you on to Lyle and let him get at it. I know he's got some stuff he wants to go over with y'all, and it's been good talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Chuck, you and Doc just about got all the good questions.
Hey, I'll jump in there. I got another one.
Well, go ahead, Doc.
What's your favorite rig? What are you guys using?
Three-way swivels. I mean, that's about what we use for just about everything we do. It can be used for a lot of different techniques. It keeps us having to change out midday, having to change out the rig. If we want to swap up and go from tight line into just dropping to the spot locking, you can do it. You can do that with the same rig.
Okay.
If you had to.
Right.
There's all kinds of different rigs you can use for both of them, but that keeps us from having to swap up midday. You can just pull up on the spot and go right back to fishing.
Yeah. I know I had to leave the room in a minute. Did anybody answer Jerry Dillard's question? Jerry Dillard posted on here. It said, do you prefer newer sunk trees and laydowns or wood that has been in the river for many years?
When we go somewhere, we really don't know how long it's been down there most of the time.
The only thing, one of the biggest fish I've ever caught was a little mudslide on the bank at our house, and that tree had been in the water for about 3 months. And that doesn't bother me. It can be in there for years. It can be in there for a few weeks. What does bother me is you get one of those trees, like I was talking about earlier, that's really bushy. It's just got a bunch of limbs. And you just get in a situation where you can't even get your bait to the bottom of that tree. So if it's got a lot of limbs and it looks real bushy, like a Christmas tree, I guess, down there, no, I really don't have much interest in that. I just need some long, a big log, a couple limbs, 2 or 3, 4 coming off of it. So if that means it's been there for a month, great. If that means it's been there for 10 years, that sounds better too. Just good. So it doesn't matter. We just really stay away from the bushy trees because you're really asking for trouble when you do that.
Yeah, you're going to get hung up.
Oh, yeah. And,
yeah.
That's another thing. You was asking about the rig that we're using. Basically, the reason that we're doing using a 3-way is because we're taking, right now we're using 10-foot rods. And we're taking that 3-way swivel and we're taking a weight line off of that 3-way swivel about 4 to 5, sometimes even 6 foot long. We're taking a hook line off of it 12 to 18 inches long. And what you're trying to do is elevate your bait off the bottom because this fish may be on the left side of the tree, but you're fishing on the right side of the tree. And if he's right up against that log right there, he can't really see that bait or feel that bait or whatnot. But if you elevate that bait, they may be able to see it. They may be able to feel it. I don't know, putting off vibrations in the water. But if you've got it laying on the bottom on one side of the log as opposed to the other, he's never going to see it. So you're not giving yourself really a good chance.
Are you guys using mostly live bait, or what is your bait of choice?
Live shad. We throw the cast net a lot, and we catch a lot of brim, crappie, bass, and everything else. But everything you catch, you can't use bass, you can't use crappie, and you can't net brim. It's illegal to do all them things. So right. The only thing really legal to use is shad most of the time. So we've just stuck with shad. Shad's a little too dumb to get out of the way. It seems like crappie and bass and brim, they'll get beside a limb and they'll hug that limb and won't get eat. They know how not to get eat, I guess. So the shad will get down there and just be shaking for dear life. And you're like, keep shaking that there, buddy. A brim will do it for just a couple of minutes, and he's just trying to get to that limb or whatever part of the structure he can get to save himself. So it really, for us, we've never done really that good on brim or anything else.
Yeah. Now, how are you hooking them?
It depends on really how they're biting that day. Sometimes we hook them in the eye. Sometimes we hook them right behind the dorsal fin on the back. Depends on their size. If they're smaller, we'll hook them to the eyes. If they're bigger, that goes bigger. It doesn't matter. You hook them through the eyes or through that back fin. So it all depends on how they're biting that day. Some of them, biting heads every time, and we'll make the adjustment. Hey, this one's scuffed up on the head. This one's scuffed up on the head. Well, we got him hooked in the back. Well, we'll make the adjustment, and usually it works out for us. Sometimes we can't figure them out. Sometimes we think they're biting their head, they're biting their butt. So, it's just it varies from place to place and tournament to tournament.
Okay. So what? I don't mean to jump in here, Lyle, but
no, go ahead.
So what tank are you using to keep your live bait in? What are you using?
Well, I'm in the middle of rigging up my own tank. I mean, there's some really good tanks out there. I mean, there really are, but I just 800. They're like.
There's not one out there like this one.
Yeah, this one's pretty good. I mean, we use the 80-gallon tank in the back of the boat, and then we use a 25-gallon tank, and then I've got a little little tank I've been working on. It's working out. It's about a 50 or 60 gallon tank, but it's more work than it is anything right now. But that goes back to us catching bait every 3 hours or so.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
That's a big part of our success. I believe that a lot of people really take for granted. They believe, and I'm not saying anything bad about guys because I've been beat by many guys using live bait they kept overnight. So I'm not going to get into that. But what we do is we try to catch our bait that morning of the tournament. And then we'll catch bait about 10 or 11 o'clock, and then we'll catch bait, 2 o'clock. So it all depends on when the tournament ends, how much time we got left. But usually bait don't stay in our boat that long, and if they start getting red-nosed or something like that, we go ahead and refresh our bait. Because if he's not down there shaking, he's not doing you no good.
Yeah.
And so a bait tank would be nice, but a lot of these guys using the bait tanks and they're keeping them overnight. And what happens that I've learned now, catfish like that overnight, is that you'll keep them overnight, and then come tournament time, they're still alive. But when you drop them down in that 30 or 40-foot hole, not even moving, they're not shaking, they're not vibrating anything. And our biggest successes come from these shad going down there and just shaking their butt off, and then something going up there and just killing them, and then coming back and eating them later. But if you're throwing them down there and they're alive, that's great and everything. But they're not down there 40 foot down there, knocking the tip of your pole. He's not doing you any good.
Yeah.
So that's why we haven't really went into the, I love to have a tank. Maybe I'll get one day. If this doesn't work out, I think it's going to be the end of me. But, we might get one day. But, for the time being, it's worked out what we're doing right now. It stinks because you hate working as hard as we do, but we really do work hard catching bait. But, at the same time, the juice is certainly worth the squeeze.
Yeah. If it's not broke, why fix it?
Hold on now. We've been beat a bunch of times now. So we catch a bait.
Yeah.
We've been beaten many times, but we're still catching fish every now and then, so I'm happy about that. That's all I ever ask for. When we go out of town, we just want to catch fish. I mean, if they're 5 2-pound fish a piece, fine. At least we caught some fish. I just hate going somewhere that we don't catch fish. So I'm humble with that. If we happen to catch some big fish along the way, that's even better. My wife likes it when I win anyway.
Yeah, I know myself. I hate to get skunked. I call it the walk of shame, and it happened to Lyle and I at the Monsters on the Ohio. The only good part about it is we thought we had a nice flathead or a blue on the line. It ended up being a 4-foot gar that took a piece of bait, and we were in 40 foot of water, which was just dumbstruck over that. So I said that's probably the reason this guy is so big.
Oh, man.
Hey, I think we've all had the walk of shame before, so don't worry about that. I've been there.
Yeah.
I can promise you that.
You guys get back on your bait tank that you're talking about, and it doesn't matter, if it's Keep Alive or whatever brand that it is that somebody's using. How long do you figure those baits will stay alive and active, as a general rule when you're fishing a tournament before you need to replenish them?
Really, just got to keep an eye on them. Like I said, like Joey said, once they start getting red nose, we usually try to start making plans to go ahead and swap them out. They'll stay overnight. And like I said, they'll still be kicking, but it's one of the things you got to keep an eye on what you're doing all along. Temperature matters. Temperature matters a lot. Cooler water, they'll stay live a lot better longer.
Right. I know that live bait for especially for flatheads work really well. A lot of people think that the only way that you can use shad and skipjack and stuff to catch blues is cut bait, but that's not true. The blues will take live bait just as rapidly as they will a piece of cut bait.
We call flatheads on cut bait. I mean, it ain't because we're targeting them that way, but
Right.
I've asked people all my life. They say blues only bite cut, only bite cut. Who cuts it up for them all the time?
That's right.
Who's cut it up for them all the time?
It's like a baby eating. There comes a time when that baby don't want you cutting his food up. He wants to eat it like he wants to eat it. Babies, they catch them live ones going down the river and the lakes every day. So, it doesn't have to be cut. I do believe that may put out more scent at different times. But a flathead, I went years and I thought all these guys telling me they's catching these flatheads on live or cut bait was lying to me. And one night we caught 5 or 6 small flatheads on cut bait, and I've never caught one since on cut bait. But I know it does happen, and but I think they really do prefer a live bait. And I have a tank now. I'm hoping I can keep shad alive in. When we kept some alive in the big live well on the boat all day once in cooler weather. But when it's hot, you got to have a circular tank, and you got to keep that water changed out. And I don't know why I never thought about having a place you could go refreshing your bait, but that's a great idea. That's probably the best tip that I heard all night.
Yeah,
Well,
that's very good.
And look, a lot of people may catch these big shad, and we caught some big shad this past year, but we don't throw anything big back. We don't keep anything under if we can, when we went to Coast and Gallatin, we weren't keeping anything under 10 inches. Everything we had was 10 to 12 inches or bigger. I mean, you can catch big shad there. At our place, about a 7 to 10 inch shad is good. We may catch 1,000 shad, but we're only keeping, 40 or 50 of them, and they're 10 to 12 inches or bigger, but a 5-pound flathead can eat a 12-inch shad.
Oh, yeah.
It will eat a 12-inch shad.
Absolutely.
I mean, so a lot of people think, and BJ, it's kind of funny what happened to us last year. We had a shad. Oh, my God. I think we had to put 2 hooks in it last year. And he thought, man,
I questioned him before he threw it out. And they know we're going to use this thing live.
We didn't find somebody that day, but we caught just as big shad the next day and sit on the hole, and it was about 45 foot deep. It's down there in Coosa River. And I think there was a tree down there about 15 foot long and 45 foot of water. We caught a little blue cat down there on live baits. We'll go back there and catch another blue cat, hopefully, and add to, we call a fish out. We caught a 47, like a 40, a 25, and a 20, and a 15 in the same hole, hovering over this little tree. And these big live baits, they were just tearing them up. And I lost one down there. It's the biggest fish I've ever lost in my life. I mean, I said it was pushing 100. I've never had a fish like that in my life. I mean, biggest one I've ever caught was 77, and it had nothing on that guy. Nothing. So,
and that's giant fish.
Super, super nice fish in that river down there. And I wish that he would have bit this past year because I'd like to see him at least.
That fish come off the line. We didn't talk to each other for 15 minutes.
Now, how long have you guys known each other?
Known each other probably, 15, 20 years. Fished with each other probably off and on for the last 5 years. I fished my brothers a good bit, so we just my brothers kind of got out of it. We got back to fishing again. So we've been knowing each other for a long time. Been had family friends for a long time too. So
and
we know a good bit about each other.
Well, I knew that you guys had fished some together for quite some time, and I also knew that you had fished with your brother for a while. But you guys have had great success, and I knew that you really like to catch those flatheads, and I've tried to pry some of that information out of Janet and Bink, and Bink kind of sits there and he doesn't say nothing, and Janet, she swells up like an old toad frog. She ain't gonna tell you nothing. And we have a lot of fun with those guys, and Teresa and Dave, they're two of them. I ride them kind of hard because they catch a lot of flatheads too. And we've had several guys on our show that talked about catching flatheads, but Joey and I have been talking about doing the show for a long time, and it just worked out to where this could be the time. And what better time of the year is right now when them babies are all feeding up and getting ready for winter. Now, I'm not sure as far south as you guys are if they go dormant like they do up here, but it won't be too awful long if the water temperature keeps dropping another month or so, maybe 2. You won't be catching any flatheads up here, but we still got blues and and channel cats that'll be going.
Yeah, our best months here are really September till about April. You know, these people, you always hear, man, they wear them out. You know, time to go after them in the summertime. No, it's not for us. The time to go after them is right now for us because there's nobody on the water. You can get wherever you want to get. And usually the numbers everybody's talking about, they wore them out. Well, there's 100 boats to 5 boats as opposed to wintertime fishing and summertime fishing, it seems like out there. So the more hooks you got in the water, yes, it's going to seem like you're wearing them out. But for us, what the flatheads do in the wintertime for us is they don't spread out as much. You may have to fish 10 spots to get 3 of them that's going to have flatheads in it. But when you find them 3 spots that got flatheads in them, you're on a hole. I mean, you may catch, 5 or 6 out of a hole. We caught 30 out of a little 50-yard stretch.
Do you think that has something to do with the water temperature?
I don't know any other reason it would be because it's always during the wintertime that you can sit on a hole and catch a bunch of them like that. Towards November and February are usually my best months catching flatheads. And usually, that's pretty cold water. For us, that's going to be around 60. In February, around 50 or 60, I guess. So I don't know. I would assume, but I haven't found a fish to interview to tell me the truth of why they really do the things they do. But and I think another big thing for us is that going back to the bait situation, it's not so hot and muggy, and there's a lot more oxygen in the water, and them baits stay a little bit more frisky during the wintertime. So you're going to get more action out of them, and not only are you going to get more action, you're going to get longer. Going back to those spots, our amount of time we're going to spend on spots like 15 or 20 minutes. That's about the life expectancy of a shad. In the wintertime, you're looking at 20 to 25 minutes. So 15 to 20 minutes, we're out of a spot. Not because the fish wasn't biting, but because the shad's dead, and we're just not going to throw another round of shad down there if nothing bit them in the first place.
Right. That makes sense to me. I'm still trying to wrap my head around December, January water temperature being 60 degrees. What do you think about that, Doc?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all come down here with us. Hey, y'all get some of this heat down here, bud.
Man, the only problem I see about where you and Chuck are at down there, way down south, is in the summertime. I could never make it down there in the summertime. It's just so hot. I see old Chuck sitting out there. When we do our shows, he'll go outside. A lot of times he'll be sitting there at night and fighting the mosquitoes and sweating. And I got the air on, baby. I'm cooling out. But, I would love to come down there and catch flatheads in the wintertime. I really would because, like I say, normally in our area around the November, the flathead fishing is pretty much over. But right now is prime time for us.
And water's prime up here in Ohio right now.
Jerry Dillard says try 85 and 90 degrees water in the summertime. Well, we get that here. But, I'm sure the further south you go, the more that you get in the summertime. But in the wintertime, it'll get below freezing and not be froze on account of its current. And these rivers up here, they sometimes will freeze over, but it's really got to be cold. I've seen them both freeze, but when that's happening, this old man's sitting inside doing something besides fishing.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, speaking of old man, you're getting ready to catch up with me. Wednesday.
I'm not ever
Wednesday is your birthday, isn't it?
It is, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to catch up with me, but you're getting close.
Well, thanks. I just every day when I crawl out of bed, my feet hit that floor. I'm just happy that it's happening.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, man. Well, Joey and Jay, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on the show. I've had a great time with you guys being here. And when we go out and do these live shows, I know you guys are at a lot of these events. Please stop by and sit in with us a little while. I mean, you may have to fight through a Jeff Dodd or somebody like that, but we'd like to have you join us at some of these events. And I know you're doing a lot of pre-fishing and preparation, and that's I can tell by what you told us tonight that the preparation and things that you do is one of the reasons that you're successful. And man, I really really happy that you've joined us and shared some of your information. And all great fishermen do that. And nobody tells everything, but everybody seems to be willing to help others and to get to the point they want to be. And that's what makes the sport so great.
Yeah, it is. And you know, I was talking to you a little bit earlier in the week. You know, we went to this ICAT show this past week. Me and you were talking about it. This past year down in Orlando. And you would not believe the buzz with all these companies about catfishing. Everybody's trying to get in on this sport. You know, everybody realizes it's not a bunch of old hillbillies getting out there fishing and stuff like that. It's an organized sport. You know, you're putting, you know, close to 200 boats in some of these tournaments here, and it's just the buzz was unreal from a lot of these companies down there in Orlando, which is the biggest fishing show you'll ever go to by far. And to come back and tell everybody about it, I mean, you know, we got something good going on here. I hope it keeps growing. And, you know, hopefully if somebody's got any questions for us, if they want to catch us at some of these tournaments, you know, if we're talking to somebody, pull us to the side, holler at us. You know, if you kind of hung up on something, don't know what's going on, we'll give you the best advice we can. You know, we got advice from people coming up, and we're very humble about where we're at right now. And I promise you, it wasn't by us just coming up with it ourselves. We got help coming along the way. So certainly some of these guys, you know, that's just now getting into the sport, because I know there's a lot of neat boats when you're putting 200 people in a tournament or 200 boats.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, come holler at us, because we want you to continue to fish. That's the biggest, most important thing. If I would have went to some of these tournaments and got school drugged the first 10 times and nobody ever told me anything, I probably would have stopped, you know, going, because I don't want to just get beat, not learn anything. So
we're still learning things ourselves. I mean,
so the you know, at that ICAT show, I mean, you was able to open up and talk to a lot of people, and there are a lot of interested people in it, and I just want the opportunity to go with, you know, a lot more people need to go to that kind of show, you know. And the way the sport's going to grow and keep on getting the buzz is for people to keep sharing information, keep helping out, and, you know, keep showing up at these tournaments. You know,
That's
a good
exactly right,
and
it really is. You know, we've seen this sport grow in the last 5 years faster and further than I ever thought it would go. And I'm very pleased that it is growing up there. I sometimes wonder if it's going too fast, but you know, it's going to do what it's going to do, and it's going to be a lot of fun for all of us in the future. And I'm just thrilled to be a part of it, and hope that everything continues to go like it is.
We do too. I promise you. There's good buzz in that Catfish Now magazine that's coming out, and Ron stayed on top of that pretty good. And I love, you know, that search from West Coast to East Coast, it seems like every week. I don't know if he's got a jet or what, but he's everywhere with all those stories. So I mean, he's doing a great job, and people need to, you know, pat him on the back too, because I mean, you don't know what it means for a lot of us guys, you know, for Ron to go through there and write up about a bunch of us. And to do the work that he does. So, I mean, you know, it takes people like Ron pushing the sport, and, you know, they're coming out with that Catfish Now magazine, which is huge for us. You know, keep on coming out with some more magazines, and more companies going to get involved with what we're doing. It's going to continue to grow, I hope.
Well, that's exactly right. You know, we see Ron at a lot of events that we go to, and you know, he'll message me about this or that, and I'll try to give you the most honest answer that I possibly can. And him and his wife was in Memphis over their wedding anniversary, and I don't remember what it was, but it'd been quite some years, and to give up that much over a wedding anniversary that was way down in years, and be at a catfishing event to do what he does for our sport was outstanding, and he does a lot. He really does, and I talked to him over the weekend. He was out at the Bass Pro Tournament, and you know, he does everything, and a lot of this is all on him. He doesn't have anybody really that helps him do all this stuff, and you know, so he does a lot for very little in return.
That's exactly right. I agree with you, and I just like to give credit where credit's due, and you know, keep the fire burning on some of these guys that's really pushing the deal. You know, and that goes for y'all show. I mean, look, I mean, we're very happy to be on the show with y'all. You know, to get the invite, And what y'all are doing is a great thing too. And like I said, I think all these things combined, the sports just will keep growing. So I look forward to being in it. I'm looking for the next 5 or 10 years where the sport's going to be at. You know, how much television is going to be on it. You know, I've got a few things in the works right now that, you know, hopefully it's going to be on the show before long. So, you know, it's
That's
just
great.
everybody's trying to put their hand in on the sport, you know, and it's a good time.
It is, and the people that do a good quality job, they'll succeed in it and do fine, and we're just going to keep growing, and that's what you got to do. Like I say, we're very happy to have you and Jay on the show. And if you guys have any sponsors or anybody you'd like to thank, take your time and go ahead and do that.
Well, you know, B&M, they've taken care of us. They're good people. That's who I went to the show with this last year, and they've been giving back to a lot of these trails and tournaments. And you know, Bitches Fishing has been with us for a while. Gripmaster, Bottom Dwellers, you know, Ego Nets, Bets. You know, I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. 10 Catfish Hooks. You know, all these guys have really taken care of us, and you know, I try to go back and write a yearly report and tell them everything that I did. You know, and ask them at the end of it, is there anything else I can do for y'all? So, you know, some of these guys is getting sponsored by some of these companies that don't know how to go about it. I'm not saying the way I do it is right, but I try to say, hey, you know, this is what I'm getting into, and shoot them a tentative schedule for the next year. And say, hey, you know, look, guys, I definitely appreciate it. I'd love to be sponsored by y'all next year. If there's anything I can do for y'all, please let me know moving forward.
That's right.
You know, so
a little thank you from any of them makes a world of difference on getting things from them. And the big deal is if you can help them, they'll do more to help you. And the major thing is with that is if their sales improve, you know, and all companies look at that. And at the bottom line, from my perspective, now I'm just going to throw this out there. I know this is kind of off topic, but from my perspective, it's not always about winning. You know, when people say, oh, my God, you can't say that. Well, yeah, it's about conducting yourself correctly and being out in the public eye. And if somebody asks you a question, not being snide about it, just tell them an answer and give them an honest opinion. But the personality of people have more to do with what I support than anything else. And most of my people, I could care less if they ever won a tournament. It's great if they do.
Right.
That's wonderful. But if they're personable and are nice to people and get along with the public, I'm just as happy for that as anything. And I think most companies are. And you're going to have a hiccup once in a while. That's just part of doing what we do. But you know, it's a great thing. And some people slam people that are sponsored, and others wish they had them. But you know, all in all. My biggest thing that I tell people is if I turn somebody down, it's not because I don't think that they're capable. Most of the time it's because I don't think they're ready at that time. And it's not that they can't get to that point. They're just not there yet. And it's bit me a couple times, and, you know, that's how it works.
Yeah, we don't, I mean, look, I'm not professional until somebody starts painting my house new, okay? I'm very lucky, or we're very lucky to have the sponsors that we've got. We're very blessed and lucky. So, you know, at the end of the day, we consider ourselves pretty good and can have some good tournaments and have some good showings. But at the end of the day, I think our biggest thing is to be approachable. Just a lot of these guys that's just now starting on the trail, and for other anglers too, we just want to be approachable. So if there are guys out there that want to come talk to us, we don't want to be in that crowd where they think they can't penetrate and get to us and ask us any questions. We want to be there and say, hey, look, what you got going on, what you need help with. So I think that's our biggest thing is to always, being approachable. And that means that people want to sponsor us for that instead of us not being able to put, hang up some first place finishes, then that's even better because I don't, with the talent that's out there nowadays, it's going to be tough to do that consistently because there's some good fishermen out there.
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you, Joey, something that stuck out in my mind. It's been, 3 or 4 years ago since the first time that I know of that I met you was down at Wheeler at the Winter Blues. And we was all crammed up in that restaurant trying to eat. And them people was going crazy. You remember that night?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We walked out. I walked outside and was standing there in the foyer of that restaurant talking with Kenny with Fat Boy Rods. Him and I have known each other for years and years, and you walked out that door and shook my hand. The first time I'd ever met you, and I've never forgot it. And that's the impression that you have to make with people, whether it be me or Doc or Chuck or somebody you never seen before. If they'll remember you, you've done good.
Well, I appreciate that. I met Chuck before. I think the first time me and Chuck really ever talked was about thigh deep in water in the Coosa River. I was trying to help get his boat out of the boat ramp at that time.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I kind of regretted it after it happened a little bit. You know, my heart was there, but once I got in there, I was committed that I was there with you, buddy. But I'm telling you, that water was a little colder than what it should have been. That was tough, buddy. I got a lot of respect for you. I promise you that.
Oh yeah, that was a pretty bad. That was my first big tournament, and something went wrong, and I was real discouraged. And Joey made me feel better about the situation. We limped out and fished it anyway, but it wasn't a very good day for me after that happened.
Yeah,
we've all been there.
That's right.
All been there. I promise you. And I'll be there again.
And I was going to say, we'll all be there again at some point. Yeah, it's never over for that kind of stuff. It always happens to everybody, and that's part of it. But like I say, when you make a lasting impression on somebody, that's a home run. I don't care how you put it; it just is. And I'm very happy that happened that night. Well, listen, guys, thank you guys so much for joining us on the show tonight. It means a lot to have you on here, and I think we covered a lot of ground and got some good information, and we didn't hurt you guys too bad. I don't think it's going to bite you too bad in future tournaments.
No, we'll show up. We'll just show up.
Well, look, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys down the road to some of these tournaments in the upcoming year. I know we'll get together at some of them. And like I say, if we're doing a live show someplace, please jump in there and join us. We'd love to have you on again.
Sounds good. Thank you for the invite.
I really enjoyed that video y'all did the other day when y'all were pre-fishing. That really helped a lot.
Me too. That was awesome. Yeah, it was really good.
We're going to try to start doing it a little bit more, and would love to do it during some of the tournaments if you could. So, we're going to try to do it a little bit more. We enjoyed it too, and I think that, you get some kind of satisfaction out there. Even if you don't do good in tournaments, you get some kind of satisfaction of helping people out and just watching this sport grow, like I said. Just all goes back to that, watching this sport grow and see how far it can go.
That's exactly right.
See y'all later. It was good.
Thanks a lot.
Thank y'all.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Well, gentlemen, that's one of the top teams in the nation, and they spent their evening with us and shared some really valuable information. I never in my life ever dreamed of spending the time out of a fishing day to go catch fresh bait. That's a great tip, because once I get my bait caught, I figure I'm good for the day, but maybe I need to rethink that a little bit.
Yeah, I watched them go by me 3 times one day on the Lake tournament. It was a 2-day event, and I think each day they passed me 3 times going to get bait and coming back.
That's a great idea. I'm excited about the live bait tank that we got, and making sure that everything will stay alive. I think that I'm a big bluegill fan, and you guys know that for flathead, but any natural bait in the water that you're fishing has got to be the right bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't see how you can miss, and if you can keep them alive, and it sounds like they've got something figured out on a live well, maybe we'll get that out of them next time we get them on the show.
I think having oxygen in the boat and then pumping them bluegills up on oxygen before you put them in the water is really going to be fun.
It's like steroids, isn't it, Chuck?
I don't know, but I'm ready to try it. them catfish are wide open. I'm sure.
Man.
them bluegills will be wide open when they hit bottom.
I'm thinking you're right about that. What do you got for closing statements tonight, Chuck?
I really don't have anything. You know, tournaments are over for the year up here. You know, Winter Blues coming New Year's Eve. Love to see everybody get down here to Wheeler. If I don't get cursed, I will be there. This past week was really discouraging. Everything that went down Thursday and Friday all at one time. I just couldn't believe everything that was happening. And, you know, it could have just been one thing, you know. He didn't want me to a good reason. So I'll just say, yes, sir. You know, appreciate you watching out for me, and try it again next time.
Exactly. That's exactly right. But, you know, there'll be times like that, and you'll get to fish some more, and everything will be good. So it's just one of them days that happens to all of us.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to Gunnersville all year. I mean, that's my favorite lake. And, you know, it had to be moved out because it was scheduled for the same day as the Mississippi River Monsters, and they rescheduled it. And, you know, I was excited because I was going to be able to go now, and it just didn't come together. But,
well, I think things happen for a reason, Chuck. I really do. And it may be a blessing that you'll never know about.
I know it's you know, I just need to get up there. I can fish at any time. I just need to get off my butt and get up there and fish. I just hate getting up there and getting the boat out in the lake and my work calls and I have to load back up and come all the way back.
Yeah.
But
that would be a killer.
It is. As long as there's nothing going on, I'm pretty relaxed about it. But I know if they're working that Saturday, they could call me at any minute.
Yep, I understand. What do you got for tonight besides Doc's tip tonight, Doc?
Well, your birthday's Wednesday, so happy birthday. How many years young are you going to be?
Would you believe 59?
Oh, I hate you. You're still a ways behind me. I am the senior citizen of this little.
You're the senior partner
here. Yeah,
the senior partner.
Wow. All right. I didn't realize that. I thought you were closer than that to me. Daggone it.
Let me tell you, buddy, that is close enough.
Yeah, trust me. And then we got Chuck, and he's still a youngster.
Yeah, he's almost wet behind the ears, isn't he?
Yeah.
So. I'll be 50 in January.
Oh, man.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think he was that old. I thought he was quite a bit younger than us.
Man, I'm broke up. You wouldn't believe. I can't even get out of bed in the morning.
Well, I have that trouble anytime. So
that's not going to. I hate to tell you, buddy, but it's not. That part of it's not going to get any better.
No, get worse every day.
Yeah, I'm just thankful every day I get out of bed and I can go out and aggravate somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Heck yeah.
So, all right. So Doc's tip tonight. The water is starting to get cold. The weather's starting to get cold. And what you guys need to be doing is carrying an extra change of clothes in the boat or the truck, either one. Because we all seem to, it just seems like when everybody falls in the water and gets wet, it's always when the water is the coldest. So that's my tip for the night. Carry an extra change of clothes. And from experience, I have, and knock on wood, I'll beat everything. I have not had that happen to me. It'll probably happen now that I've said it. But I remember an incident that happened many years ago in which a bass fisherman got tossed out of his boat. And a buddy that was fishing with me at the time, we rescued this guy. And luckily, he had a whole outfit, including shoes, in his truck, and we just stripped him right down out there because the weather, it was 30-some degrees out on the river, and that water, it was down in the 40s, and so it was quite cold. But once we got them dry clothes off of him, even with the water temperatures at they're about 60 degrees, you can suffer from hypothermia. It'll chill your body down real quick. So that's my tip for tonight. Carry an extra set of clothes.
That's a great idea. And if you guys are worried about space, you can always get your clothes and get one of those bags that you hook up a vacuum sweeper to and suck all the air out of them. They take up very little. You'd be surprised how small an area a suit of clothes takes when you take the air away from them. So that's something to consider, because you can seal them babies right up in a vacuum bag, and they don't take up no space at all. And that's a great tip, Doc. Everybody should keep that on there.
Yeah, and
it doesn't matter if it is all wrinkled. No,
it don't matter.
It's not a fashion show. We're just trying to stay warm.
That's exactly right. And winter clothes, coats and stuff, you vacuum seal that baby up, and them things come in the littlest, smallest package, very thin, out of the way. Won't take up much space in your boat, and it'll save your life.
Yep.
Jerry Dillard had sent me a message earlier, and he wanted me to announce the tournament they had this past Saturday on the Brazos River in Waco, Texas. Roy Ewing and Jason Cummings and Garth Goodwin took first place with 39.38 pound and one big fish with a 33.44 pound flathead, winning $1,106. Those winnings will be doubled by the Boating Center for running a Yamaha outboard. Wow. Now, that's pretty cool right there. That's the first I've heard of that. Congratulations to those guys. Second place was Luke and Levi Pickett with a 6.60 pound, taking home $306. That's pretty good return on your money right there, with an additional $140 for the smallest fish. They had a 12 and a quarter inch fish that weighed 0.44 pounds, a blue cat. $140 for a 12-inch blue cat. Boys, we might need to make a trip to Texas and fish some of the tournaments down there. Dillard with a 5.76 pound, taking home $136. That amount will also be doubled by the Marineland Boating Center for running a Yamaha outboard. And they would like to thank everybody for showing up to the tournament. Looking forward to seeing everybody at the next one on Whitney Lake, December 4th and 5th. That sounds like them boys down there in Texas kind of got it going on.
Yep.
I'm glad for them. We're looking at trying to do some Texas stuff maybe this year. I really would like to fish the Tawakoni tournament. I'm not sure. We've had some issues going on again with some family members, and I'd like to talk about that for just a second. We went through this deal with my mother here a while back, and I wanted to thank everybody for all the prayers and condolences and all the stuff that I received from that. But my wife, Cindy, her brother Alan is in the same shape now, and he has cancer really bad. And if you guys wouldn't mind keeping her in your prayers, I know she'd appreciate it. I have one other thing that I'd like to talk about before we shut up tonight. I had a message from one of the greatest fishermen or teams of fishermen that's out there in our sport right now, and I met Mary Tudereau down at Monsters on the Ohio. And I may have met her before that, but she come up and introduced herself to Cindy and I. And I think you and Lynn was there, Doc, and she's just the nicest lady. She had asked me if I had heard what happened over the weekend, and with our traveling to check on Cindy's brother, I didn't hear about it. And she told me that Saturday, excuse me, that Casey and John had finished second in the ICA tournament over in Indiana. They had also Sunday went and won the Catfish Classic and Big Fish for the Indiana Classic. Them guys, John LeMaster and Casey Tudereau are two of the outstanding fishermen there is. Them are young guys. They got it going on. I mean, they catch some giant fish. They catch a lot of fish. They place high in tournaments. And Mary also shared some information with me about her daughter getting engaged. And she had a great weekend all the way around. But she shared something with me that I thought I'd like to pass along, because I know Casey really well, and he's a really good dude. She had told me that, what was it? I forgot. Hang on just a second. I want to share this with you guys.
Creek chub.
Creek chubs. That's what they called him when he was a youngster growing up. And I take it because he fished all the time, and he was on the creek bank that they nicknamed him Creek Chub. And I just thought that was the biggest, funniest thing. And she was nice enough to share that with us. And I guess that his sister fishes a lot, does very well, and Mary's personal best is over 60 pounds. I told them guys, I told her that Casey and John and her and maybe they need to come over and fish the Jack and Jill tournament that we hold every year. Alex holds up on the Mississippi River. That'd be great if them guys could make them over there and get to fish with his mother or his sister or John's wife or Casey's wife or however they wanted to split it up and do it. But it would be great to get them guys over here on some big water. I know they fish a lot. It'd be no different over here than it is over there. They'd be just as successful. But she told me that, and I thought that was so funny. I just wanted to share it with everybody. So that's all I have for tonight. You guys got anything else?
Nope, I'm clear.
All right. Okay, Chuck. That'll do it for tonight's show. We would like to thank Joey Pounders and Jay Gallup for joining us. We're not sure about a guest for next weekend. We have some things going on. We'll keep you posted. Keep your eye on the website. Till next Monday night. For Chuck Davis and Doc Lang, I'm Lyle Stokes, and thanks for watching Catfish Weekly.